Alrighty, what's up guys? This is Joseph here with Nimbus Gaming, here to give you my Firefist deck profile. I'm running the 4-axis, of course. And this is my deck profile for the January 1st, 2014 ban list. And yeah, let's get right to it. 3 Bear, you have to have Bear, obviously. He's huge searcher, pops, he's just everything you could ever want in this deck.
Those ultimates.
Yeah, ulti bears for days. Next up is 3 Dragon. I think Dragon is way too good in this deck. I think you absolutely have to have 3. I've seen some people run him at 2, but I disagree. I think you have to have Dragon at 3. The plays you have with him are pretty ridiculous. Next up, we have Brotherhood of the Firefist Gorilla. Gorilla lets you pop back row, and if you beat over a monster with him, you go plus, you search for Fire Formation spell. He's super good. I like turn him at 2. I've seen some people do at 1. I really prefer it 2. I really like him. Next up, less common one is Boar. Now, Boar is a pretty underrated monster because you can set him face down defense. Your opponent's going to beat over him, you're going to let him, and then you're going to get any other rank 4 Firefist monster from your deck and special summon him, which is really good. And then once Boar's gone, and now we have Boar and Grave. Next up, we have 2 Wolfbarks we're running. So he makes for a super easy Crimson Blader play. You would just go summon Wolfbark, grab Boar, and then boom, sink into Crimson Blader, and it just really shuts down your opponent. And yes, I definitely think 2 Wolfbark, not 3, not 1, 2. 2 is a perfect number for Wolfbark, and it just is the perfect number. You don't need any more than 2. Now, weird tech that I really like, it's probably one of my favorite cards in this deck, as I run 2 Fossil Dyna. Kind of an anti-meta choice. The card's just too good. People don't expect it when they're playing Firefists. While he's face up on the field, neither player can special summon, and if he's flipped, all special summon monsters on the field are destroyed. So it's hilarious when your Gyakar Curry goes completely ham, trap stuns, and then think they're just gonna OTK you, and then they beat into face down monster, and it's Fossil Dyna, and you just wipe the whole field. So I like to play 2 of those. Super good card, one of my favorites. Next up, we have 2 Max C. It's pretty essential, especially in this format. Like I said, you're gonna have the Medolce support coming out with Angeli. You got your Gyakar Curry, you just have some messed up OTK decks that you're going to have to stop, and it lets you go hard plus. It's pretty much just a deck thinner. Really good card. Moving on to spells. Thank God Tenki is back up to 3. Gotta play 3 Tenki.
Stupid.
No idea what Konami was thinking with this one. They're obviously trying to push Bujin super hard because this card is retarded. It's essentially just playing a Rhoda at 3. It's pretty incredible. I'm even more surprised that they moved it down to 2 and then moved it back up to 3. Like, they never really do that. Like, everybody was expecting it to get hit to 1 and it came back up to 3, and that's just disgusting. It really is what's making this deck a top tier deck again, and that it's one of the only reasons why. The amount that you can search out Tenki and recycle it is just unreal. So Tenki at 3 is huge. I love this card. On to the next Fire Formation spell. Of course, we got Tensu. I like to play 2 Tensu. Some people run 1, some people run 3. Once again, I think 2 is a really good number for this card. Gives you a decent chance at drawing into it, and if you really need it, you're going to set it on Tiger King Summon, or you're just going to search it out with Bear Gorilla. It really doesn't matter. But Tensu, super good. An additional normal summon is always fantastic. Your Firefists are pretty comfortable sitting on 2 rank 4 Firefist monsters, especially with set back row. They're really not going to budge. It's almost your optimal position. So Tensu is really good for just sitting on that. I really like Tensu. Now, what's pretty essential if you ask me is 3 Pot of Duality. This card is insane in this deck because it adds stupid consistency.
And it's French.
Yeah, my Pot of Dualities are French, but moving on. You look at the top 3 cards of your deck and you choose any one you want. It's pretty unreal for this deck, especially with Tenki at 3. And you could have a Tensu out. You can't special summon for the rest of the turn, but like I said, sitting on 2 level 4 Firefist monsters is pretty optimal for this deck. So you would just go Polyduality, grab a monster, Tensu effect, summon 2, and then boom, you are set. One of my favorite cards in the entire game coming up next, MST. I like to run 2. You have 2 Gorilla, so you got enough back row removal as it is. MST is just way too good of a card if you ask me. You just pop on back row and you set it. Set MSTs just leads to such good plays. One of my favorite things to do is I'll like play drag, summon drag, and then do Tensu or Tenki, get dragon effect, search for Tensen, set Tensen, and then just set MST. And a lot of bad players will go set, MST face down, and then you just go chain MST, pop one of their back row, and they're essentially starting with 4 cards to your 6. It's pretty fantastic. Next up, pretty stellar card, Forbidden Lance, super good. A lot of times people are going to try to bottomless your bear, torrential your bear. They're going to do everything they can to just ruin your bear. And you're just going to go Lance. Nothing's going to happen. You're going to pop their one monster that they have on the field and then swing in with 800. And even though it's just 800 damage, you're still going to plus into that 10 key. So that's just a huge play. And then last but not least, we got Dark Hole at 1, too good to really pass up if you ask me. You literally wipe the field, just kind of nice reset for the game, really good. Moving on to the trap line, we got Bottomless at 1, super good. I don't know why you wouldn't run Bottomless, it's pretty essential. You get something, you banish something, it's pretty fantastic. Compulse, of course, I love this card, I think this card's way too good. I miss it at 2, but we don't have Heavy Storm anymore, so.
3.
3, yeah. I run 1 Mirror Force. I used to run 2, but I'm kind of playing with it. It just kind of depends. There's a lot to get around Mirror Force, but it's personal preference. I like to run 1. Now, here's where it gets a little interesting. I love Trap Stun in this deck. Now, Firefists are rewarded for controlled aggression. The more you hit your opponent, or destroy your opponent's monsters, the more you're going to search for Tenki and plus. You literally plus off of doing damage to your opponent. That's the way the deck runs. So by running the Forbidden Lances, MSTs, and Trap Stuns, you're giving yourself security to beat into your opponent and go plus. I normally run 2, but recently just for fun, I've been testing the 1/7 Tools of the Bandit I have in the deck. Normally this would just be 2 Trap Stuns. I'm messing on the 7 tools. I think it's pretty funny when somebody tries to Solemn Warning the Tiger King or Bear, and then you just go Spell Speed 3, 7 Tools of the Bandit, pay half what they're paying, and Solemn Warning's gone. Pretty good. 7 Tools of the Bandit is just a super nice toolkit just to respond to essentially anything. Next up, we got that Solemn Warning I was talking about. Too good, gotta have it. Gets you out of so many sticky situations. Just fantastic card. Then we got 2 Fiendish Chains. I'm a huge fan of Fiendish Chain. Monster can't attack, and it can't use any of its effects. Super good. One problem I have with Fiendish Chain is the fact that as a Firefist player, running so much back row and continuous spell and trap cards that sometimes your back row gets clogged up, and then if you Fiendish Chain a monster like a level 4, and they exceed into something else, or synchro into something else, your Fiendish Chain will miss target, and you just have a dead Fiendish Chain sitting in your back row that's not going to move, and you're only going to be playing with 4 spaces, and you really do need all 5 with Firefists. So I know a lot of Firefist players like to run Effect Veilers instead of Fiendish Chains. I still like my Fiendish Chains. I'm pretty sure it's just personal preference. Next up, we got 1 Depriz. Depriz is a fantastic card. I'm considering bumping it back up to 2 again. I'm just kind of playing with it between 1 and 2. Gets you out of so much. It really gets rid of almost anything. It's just a fantastic card. You just banish, you don't destroy, just nothing, no questions asked, you just banish. Next up, Torrential Tribute, way too good to pass up. You wipe the field, you can just set, and as soon as your opponent goes for that Exceed or Synchro play, kaboom. And then last but not least, I like to play 2 Tensen, not 3. I know a lot of people play 3. I really like 2. I think you search it out enough with Dragon as it is. It can get kind of cloggy sometimes after you get the initial 1k from it, but it's a super good card. Kind of unsuspecting for your opponent's random 1k gain. Really good during damage step. But yeah. Now, moving on to the extra deck, we got your boss monster, 2 Tiger King here. Tiger King's just insane. He's so broken in my opinion. You detach and negate all other effects on the field that aren't Beast Warrior, and on summon, you get to set any fire formation spell or trap from your deck. So you get a 10 key on summon or a Tensu, and it just, the amount of plays he opens up for you, it's just stupid. I mean, you could go Tiger King effect and say Deuces to Lead Yoke if you want. He's just way too good. He's a huge part of your deck. One of the most broken cards in the whole deck is Cardinal. I like to run 2 Cardinal. Really helps recycle your 10 keys, and now that 10 keys it's at 3, it's almost as if like you never run out of them, especially when you're recycling with Cardinal, because you'll search 2 10 keys, use 2 10 keys over the course of 2 turns, and then just recycle them from grave and return 2 of your opponent's boss monsters back to their deck. He's just insane. He's essentially a Firefist Tiramisu that's slightly weaker than Tiramisu because he targets, but he's still pretty damn good. I only choose to run 1 Diamond Dyer. I really hardly find myself with my back against the wall and no bears. But if you gotta go 2 Dragon or Dragon Gorilla, whatever, into Diamond Dyer to get a quick pop on something, that's alright. He's pretty good. He is essential to the deck though. You definitely need to have 1. He's saved me a lot of games. I like 1 Maestro, really good for the defensive plays, really good to make sure you don't get mirror forced, etc., etc. Flip over those beaters, just hit their defense, really nice card. Photon Pappy, one of the most underestimated cards in the game if you ask me. It's a huge game winner because when your opponent's down to like just 1,000, 2,000 life points and you go ahead and they set a monster, you just go Photon Pappy, flip it over, lose a 600 attack, and just beat over for game. It's phenomenal. I choose to run a Daigusto Emerald. I know a lot of people don't, but with the amount of monsters I can get on the board and keep on the board, and I go through so many monsters a lot of the time, I think it's super good because not only do you put 3 back into your deck while you're already recycling your 10 key, you draw a card after, and drawing that extra card is just too good.
Mini Ambers, guys.
So good. I love this card in this deck. 1 Gagaga, about as clutch as it gets. He just ends games. Too good. Gotta have 1. Black Ship of Corn. It's just fantastic. You're going to be seeing a lot more of Zen mains now that Tour Guide's back up to 3 in this format, so he really takes care of that Zen mains for you. 1 Abyss Dweller. Gotta shut down the Mermails. You already have a pretty good matchup versus Mermails as it is, but Abyss Dweller, timed properly, really does just keep them out of the game. Super good card. I'd choose to run 2 Crimson Blader. A lot of people question this choice, but with Boar being so recyclable, sometimes unexpected things will happen to your Crimson Blader. You'll get unfortunate, just Dark Hold or Torrential when you think it's safe, etc., etc. But a lot of times, something bad's going to happen to your first Crimson Blader, and people are going to say, like, okay, awesome, that plays out of the way, I'm good to go for Beret or whatever they want to go for, and then next turn you're just going to go another Wolf Bark into that Boar and make another one, and it just kind of comes out of nowhere. Fantastic card, shuts down so many decks. You really need it if you ask me. And my favorite card in this deck, just because it's signed by Duelist Dragon Girl.
Dragon Duelist Girl.
Dragon Duelist Girl. I'm an idiot, I'm sorry. Stardust Dragon, so good. I'll explain as to why I run that card in this deck. You don't have a way to make it, save for using Starlight Road, but it's just too good in the deck, and I'm going to explain why in a little bit. And then last but not least, because Geargia Card Courier is such a threat, we got that Chimera Tech. You're obviously going to have 1 Cyber Dragon in your side, and you just go for the Tech Summon and ruin their day.
Main deck it, man. Go for that missile.
Now I'm going to move on to my side deck for you. This is again for the January 1st, 2014 ban list. Starlight Road, I run 2. Nobody understands why, but I think this card is way too broken in this deck. Once again, you are rewarded for controlled aggression and hitting your opponent, and this card lets you get so greedy because you don't have to be scared of the Mirror Force, you don't got to be scared of Dark Hole, don't got to be scared of Torrential, and it's always, no matter what, coming in game 2 for me, because it just says like no to Overworked. With this card down, Overworked means nothing, and Overworked actually lets you go plus. And then you get a Stardust Dragon, and you can still use that Stardust Dragon effect to negate whatever Torrential, Mirror Force, etc., they throw at you from there. Starlight Road is just too good. I think you should always be setting it in game 2, because that Overworked is going to be there now that Tenkey's at 3. People know that Firefists are a threat again. Starlight Road is just phenomenal in this deck. We got XYZ Encore. Super good versus Ophion. Really any other rank 4 decks that you're going to see just really shuts down those Exceeds. And it can't be responded to, which is just ridiculous.
Mythical Spell Speed 4.
Mythical Spell Speed 4, the make-believe Spell Speed 4. The card is just really nice. You already have a good matchup versus Evil Swarm and Constellars as it is, but it really just helps to shut those decks down. Now, another kind of weird tech of mine, Acid Rain. It destroys all face-up machine-type monsters on the field. Doing this obviously because once again your Giakar Curry are going to be just terrifying in this format. But then that brings up the question, why not just system down? I have seen it so many times where your Giakar Curry players, they have 3 Imperial Iron Walls on their side, and essentially no matter what, those are going in to counterside that system down. And you're going to pay 1,000 and they're just going to chain Imperial Iron Wall, and you're going to be down
boom, Iron Wall,
1,000 life points, and that system down is going to do you no good, and it's just going to suck. So, I really like Acid Rain. You can't trap stun it. It's just a spell. Essentially, it kind of just happens, really. I mean, there's not much that they're going to even have in their deck to get around it.
Starlight.
They're going to full field. You're going to Acid Rain. It's going to happen. It's going to be hilarious. So, I really like Acid Rain. Pretty essential card again going into this format. Close Forests. For those of you who don't know, it's a field spell card that once it's put into play, no other field spell cards can be played, which is insane. Shuts down the Harpies. They can't Harpies Hunting Ground you. Shuts down Dark World. Shuts down Prophecy. What else does it shut down?
Gravekeepers and Madolches?
Gravekeepers and Madolches. Oh my god.
It's gonna go ham. You just need to get control over that field.
Yeah, once you get control over the field spells against Gravekeepers and Madolches, and they don't have Chateau or Necro Valley, you just go ham. Necro Valley is especially terrifying in this deck because we actually do have a lot more graveyard play than people expect between Dragon and Wolfbark. So, Close Forest, so essential for this format. Ultra's jumped up from like $3 to $12 in no time. Imperial Iron Wall, pretty essential. Prophecy with Fate down to 1 isn't as scary, but still kind of keeps the deck shut down. You are definitely scared of the Bujin matchup. This is going to shut down Bujins really hard, so you need to be setting this in with some light Imprisoning Mirrors for that Bujin matchup. Plus, you're still going to see some Rogue Dragon builds. It's just going to happen. Nobody wants to let the deck go for some reason, so that's there. 2 Rivalry of Warlords. Love this card. Really shuts down Constellars and Evil Swarm super hard. Just keeps them down. I don't like losing Rogue matchups. We got 2 Light Imprisoning. Shut down the Constellars and the Bujins. Just awesome card. A lot of really common decks that it'll shut down. And last but not least, we got Cyber Dragon for that Chimera Tech play. Just obviously I decided in versus Geargia, and boom, and there you have it. Once again, thanks for watching. My name's Joseph, Nimbus Gaming over here. Like, comment, subscribe, let us know what you think, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for tuning in.